I don't have an RR1.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cow Corner Dugout. We're live, and today we're live slightly early. We thought that's an interesting point in the game. While the game's on, we thought we'll also have a look at the game that's on, do a little bit of a watch along for about 10 balls, wait for the crowd to come in. And I was just reminiscing to Trinay. Trinay is a 18-year-old, and Trinay is the age correct?
Yeah.
So Trinay is an 18-year-old, and I was telling him how internet was in our days, where the internet relay chat used to come up, and we used to wait for strangers, consistent strangers, to come and then have those chats or discussions like that. There is King Biryani, there is Steve Bai. These are the handles that regularly comment on Scene Uploader. So we're waiting for familiar handle names to come, comment, and then start that
King
social
Biryani has come in by saying starting winning.
starting.
And it's
Yes.
happening now in 15 runs to win of 12 balls with 3 wickets in hand. That's what
I like.
GT have cornered themselves into.
Yeah, we
From
had a
being in a
good start. Then, having that, collapse 6 wickets in 5 overs. And then all of a sudden, I'm just impressed at their batting depth, man. For all the lack of spin hitting that they have with their middle order, I think their real batting starts at 9. I'm just impressed that the side can, like, at 9, you have Rashid scoring 22 of 12, and then you have Rabada scoring 20 of 10. It's almost like a 200 strike rate. So, 14 of 11, I think this game is pretty. I don't think GT ever lost a grip on it, just that they were losing consistent wickets. But it's good to see Rashid and Rabada really pull them out of a rabbit hole.
I remember Kagiso Rabada was once described by a very credible journalist as the most beautiful looking batsman who doesn't score any runs. And today he
he
finds
does. I like the look of him when he plays a cover drive and because he's got those
Exactly.
long levers and but even with that what he just tried right now on semi-Natraj shot, there's a grace to his. I mean, yes, the left-hander has got to do with it a bit, but I think there was a talented batsman who never developed at some point, maybe
Right.
when
We
he was
don't
14,
speak
15,
enough about Kagiso Rabada, the batter.
because I guess he hasn't got the runs at any level to talk about it, right?
he never needed to. I mean, he's one hell of a bowler.
Okay, for
Probably
those who are joining and who not got your other screen on, GT now needs 14 of 10 with Jofra
13
Archer
of
bowling the penalty. 13 of 9. Jofra Archer bowling his penultimate, bowling the penultimate over. And I think it'll be Nandre Berger, right? Who'll get the last one.
Does he have another one left? He just bowled one.
Checking. Who has an over left? I mean, I'm sure 2 people have
Quite a
because.
crowd in Ahmedabad today.
And it's a very RR supporting crowd. So I heard more, noise when. Anyway, who's got
gone.
overs left?
Oh, come on, you're spoiling it.
No, not out.
Oh, look at that. Jofra Archer is like, I want a review.
Sandeep Sharma has an over.
That was out.
Oh yeah, do you remember
Seemed plumb enough unless he's got a bottom edge on that.
The game at Chapak a couple of years ago, Dhoni and Jadeja almost finished it off. They scored like 48 in 2 overs, and then Sandy bowled the last. He was bowling the last over. He went for 12, but RR won by like 2 runs or something.
I think when Dhoni hit that 6, right, flicked that off his legs, I actually thought that CSK caught this game in their grasp. But yes, unfortunately, very close. Yeah, they got so there is an edge. Rashid did get an inside edge on it.
Yeah.
Ultra Edge has confirmed that bat is involved. Rashid Khan stays, and what is it now? 12 of 8.
12 of 8, and there's this in a small sense of happiness one gets if I'm watching on Tata Sky and you're watching on the stream. I am like a few seconds ahead of you.
You're 3 balls ahead of me, actually.
Okay, so let's debate the only debatable thing. Who bowls the last over? There's Berger with 1 for 29 of 3. Sandeep Sharma with none for 34 of 3.
Sandy.
There's also Tushar Deshpande, but I don't think he's going to get a...
Should be Sandeep, I guess. I mean, he has the experience. Slow balls, cutters. We'd go with him. Nandre could bowl
Karthik,
2 balls at 150, which fly over third man's head. You wouldn't want to
As a
risk
slow
that.
bowler, do you think Sandeep Sharma has probably not got his due? With even in like an India cap, or even in a squad, let's say for a Zimbabwe tour or something like that.
wasn't he in a squad at some point?
He would have
was,
been.
right? He
But
was in a squad
his-
and never got to play, I think.
His career overlapped with
Can't remember
Bhuvaneshwar and Deepak Chahar, so it could be that.
He did get close. Maybe he's got a cap.
No, he's okay. Has he? I think he got a debut cap in 2015, Zimbabwe. That's what. So I'm just checking. So he played only, I think, there's 2 games versus Zimbabwe in 2015.
The Fairs Fuzzle games.
Pairs puzzle games, exactly. Wow, that's a pretty long time back. And I think he's out of T20 reckoning with age, just like Bhuvaneshwar Kumar is.
Bhuvi was a shame. I think they dropped him too early.
Same here. I think just one bad day at Adelaide against. Well, Bhuvi played pretty well in the same World Cup. Looks like an over
Oh,
versus
No, it's-
Pakistan.
Mhm.
No ball for height. No, I'm not sure. Looked all right on live. But worthwhile. The reviews worthwhile.
Slightly.
Obviously, they have reviews. They have
Side
reviews to
view
spare.
is looks like it's slightly above the waist.
But he came down, didn't he? He was outside the crease a little bit.
Was it? It looked like popping crease. Now I missed that frame.
Touch and go. Still not.
Mohammad Nawaz to Kohli 2022, was it? Yeah. Could be that close.
Not given.
Oh,
Not given.
So 11 of 6.
It was on the popping crease.
no, that looks on the waistline. Yeah, 50-50 call.
It's point that much. That's what 0.21 meters was the difference. When you have so much math going into it, you have to trust it. It's no more like
0.21 meters is 20 centimeters.
Math
This
isn't
a lot.
always right.
20 centimeters is more than 6 inches. 15 centimeters is 6 inches.
correct.
So
It doesn't look 6 inches off.
20 centimeters is 8 inches.
Does not look that off.
I'm sure we know our 6 inches.
Tushar Deshpande gets the last.
Oh,
That's out of syllabus.
11 of 10 of 6.
no.
Wide of the first ball. I think he
I
did
didn't see
bowl
that
dead.
coming. Did you see that coming?
did.
Either of you?
None of us
I
saw
didn't-
that
I
coming.
In fact, we were
Karthik and I
debating
predicted
only on the
Sandy.
other 2 options.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of crowd in Ahmedabad. So is this usual, like on a Sunday in Ahmedabad, where people queue up?
It's
I
a
think it must be at
Saturday.
least 40,
It's a
50,000.
weekend match.
So I mean, it's probably culturally the biggest game, right? Because there's Rajasthan and Gujarat involved. So
Is that a wide? Oh, he started with a wide first ball.
Well, okay.
For everybody out there watching, 10 of 6.
Looks like we're commenting on 3 different games.
3 different timelines.
3 different timelines. Yeah.
Karthik is about 10 seconds ahead of me, and Trinay,
And you
are
were
at least-
about, yeah.
at least 30 seconds behind me.
Oh, damn my internet.
So the
So
next
like
ball is
a
finished.
particular ball basically passes from me to Neeraj to Trinay.
So it's
when
9
I'm in
of
the
5.
third, to me it's also 9
Yeah,
of 5.
he just tapped the single for me, yeah. My God.
I can see that the
Sandeep is
field
running
that
up
he
now.
has is
Sorry,
predominantly leg side field. He has long
It's-
on, deep mid wicket, deep square leg. He
And
bowled
3
really
behind.
wide out by the off stump.
Oh, so he
Wow,
has a
good
fielder
luck.
shot. He has a fielder shot. The ball.
Very good Yorker.
Over it?
8 is 4.
Over it?
Yeah, one fielder shot. 8 of 4.
I'm impressed with the batting abilities of this tail end man.
No, so Rashid has it. So Rashid apparently, I mean, he told us on Breakfast with Champions that I think as an under 19 cricketer, he was a opener.
Oh,
He mentioned that. But then it was under 19, which means a long, long time ago.
I can
He
see
was an
his
Ashwin,
work
an under
in
19 opener.
No, wait. We did not hit the joke. Rashid in under 19, when he says many years ago, it's obviously a dig at how old or young Rashid Khan perceivably is.
Oh, the age fraud stuff, or the fact that he
He
doesn't know his
he
own age.
he probably doesn't know. I mean, it's to be fair to him, he's looked the same for the last 8-10 years. Ooh, sneaked a single there. 7 of 3. This is as tight as it gets.
If they sent in Rabada ahead of Tavatia, I'm pretty sure the game would be over by now. Or
This is actually an interesting point, right? Do you need somebody like Tewatia? Of course, Tewatia is a very good player against pace, but I think it's Tewatia's time over technically because the kind of depth that I'm seeing with Rashid and Rabada, should they batter, a couple of positions earlier?
no, it's
No.
I
They
don't
are
think it's
corrected.
that.
Oh, hey, dot ball, 7 of 2.
Game over,
Right to
guys.
move.
I don't think that. I don't
Not
think these guys are hitting a 6.
Super over. Are we in for a super
A,
over?
a similar game happened in Ahmedabad last over, where I think the first 4 balls, Mohit Sharma almost stuffed Jadeja and Dubey, and then Jadeja scored 10 of those last 2.
There's a sizable difference between Ravindra Jadeja and Kagiso Rabada's batting.
No, right now, Rashid is on strike.
Rashid, yeah.
Rashid can get a 6 of any given ball. That's his.
He has, yeah.
That's his ability.
No,
He only
now,
he never practices against fast bowling though in the nets.
shot 6.
What?
There you go.
Yo,
No.
spoiled.
Caught on the boundary.
Caught
Caught on the boundary. Wow. Zofra Archer takes a wicket.
I'm still in the third ball.
Wow.
I know
So
how
we
bad
are
it
now.
feels.
The 5th ball is finished.
Uh,
It's /2. So
I'm
game over
lagging.
now. 6 of the last. 7 of the last. Or
So
6
they
of the last
crossed, right?
for super over.
But is the cross allowed or not?
No,
allowed
no.
now?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't.
The
So Siraj
rules
has to
scrap-
deliver. Siraj or whoever comes
DSP.
next. Who's coming next?
DSP by. It is DSP, right? No, I don't think they have a better
Who
batsman.
else is
than-
left? Prasid is benched out. The
I think
Siraj.
it's a
Rashid come
remarkable
back.
comeback by RR, man. A game which was pretty much even. And, I
No,
thought
I
these
think-
guys lost.
They let
I
two
think
tailenders take the game away. There's nothing remarkable in
84
that.
of. I mean, RR has got out of jail largely because of very lack of common sense batting from GT.
No, because of their wonderful middle order.
They were comfortably going at 10 and over when they tried to up it, and I didn't see the need for it. Talk about intent and all, but you're getting 10 runs and over. So it was
they've
84
got the-
to win of 8 overs with 8 wickets in hand. That was the state of the game when that over from Bishnoi started.
I wouldn't say they tried to up it. Washington and Phillips both tried normal attacking shots against Bishnoi, and they couldn't get it. I mean, Washington got one off. The other one flew straight into the hands of whichever fielder caught it.
Bad choice of bad shot selection, let's say. Anyway, now I think the game is.
Regression, I say.
Is Ashok that good a batter?
Well, he's probably better than Siraj then.
Full toss, but again they won. He just bangs it inside his zone. The way he's jumping, right? Tushar Deshpande, wow. It reminds me
Hey,
of
it's a big
Yash
deal,
Dayan.
man.
Yeah,
Defending 10 of the last over.
And
It's a
just
big
giving
deal.
3 runs.
yeah, he bowled well. Besides the last ball, but it didn't matter at that point.
Such small margins, I think GT will be gutted. We had the game in their pocket, and then to go from there.
They should have got this game. I mean, for the record, the 43-run partnership between Rashid and Rabada is the highest for 8th wicket for GT in its 5-year history. So they've never had to come in so
Bad,
deep.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't. The game was well in their pocket, right? Earlier, as I said, when I stopped and looked at the status of the match while creating the stream, it was literally 84 runs to win in 8 overs with 8 wickets in hand, 127 for 2 in 12. From there, one Bishnoi over in which harakiri happened, followed by another couple of bad shots, and then before you knew it, there was 6 down, 7 down. Tewatia hit a 6 and a 4, got out of a wide-ish ball. Shah Rukh Khan attempted a run out. Tewatia got 6 and 4, got out of a 6 and a 4. Tewatia hit a 6 and a 4, got out of a wide-ish ball. Shah Rukh Khan attempted a run out. Tewatia got 6 and 4, got out of a attempted a run which was never there, not to Jadeja's arm. So yeah, guys, GT doing things which champions don't do. Let's put it this way. So I'm not expecting GT to qualify this year based on this kind of thinking. I know it's early days.
They don't have a middle order. I mean, I know this is the same point from the first GT match. If you have a middle order that can't hit spin, that can't even rotate off of it properly, then you're not going to get far in this league. You're not playing in Australia. You're not playing in England. This isn't the Blast. This isn't the 100. You are in India. We have been brought up on spinning wickets ever since the conception of the game. And if you have a middle order that cannot play it, then I don't see how they can get far in this league.
Kind of unfortunate that the
My
situation.
table isn't updated yet, but I expect GT is in the bottom 4 for sure. Because
That's probably where they'll end up.
I'd expect them to be a 5, 6, 7.
Thank you,
on
Steve.
merit.
Yes, we started the live stream before the game ended because we were N2 cutlets. When we got on the stream and we wanted to actually watch the game
The
live.
nail-biting moments together.
Practicing watch along for the future.
If we ever do, yeah. So guys, where do we start? We start with this game, or we start with?
I think we should start with the MI game, where the MI DC game that happened earlier.
It's not an MI game; it's a DC game.
Well said.
So yeah, just for those of you tuning in who haven't been up or bothered on a Saturday afternoon, it was a 3:30 game at 40 degrees in Delhi. MI lost the toss. DC bowled first, like everybody is seeming to be doing, and they bowled like a well-oiled machine, I'd say. There are some really good bowlers who all bowled tight lines, good lengths. Vipraj Nigam chipping in the middle meant that that 5-man attack had extra wings, and then some of them didn't have to bowl their fourth over. I think today Kuldeep didn't bowl his fourth over. Mukesh didn't have to bowl a fourth over. Natarajan didn't have to bowl a fourth over. Aksar, like always, a permanently underrated bank for DC. Throughout the thing, despite Surya's 50, never really got above the 8 runs and over mark. There were 73 in 10 overs for 3 wickets. And there was no acceleration. So where was the acceleration? The chase was quite simple, I felt, although another early exit for KL. He was strangled down the leg of a wide ball. Pathum Nishanka shone for a bit, and then it was the Samir Rizvi show. 3 of his first 10 balls, and settled in, and then dealt with boundaries. Mostly sixes, spin or pace didn't seem to matter. Surya had only Bumrah to turn to, who delivered a tight over every now and then but from the other end, it was always 14, 16, 18 run overs. There was one special shot, which was a swatted 6 of Shardul over extra cover, which probably for me is the shot of the tournament till now. 90 runs of 50, deserved 100, but what an innings, man. So I think there were a couple of us who were in doubt of his ability. Even Shamak had mentioned, and I was also a little hesitant to think whether he had the deal or not. But I think he's the real deal. It was easy win eventually for DC with 2 overs to spare and a top of the table spot. If you're finishing games with 11 balls left, the game was never close. The second game, Karthik, is much closer.
Yeah. Second game was obviously a lot closer, which we enjoyed doing a little watch along of sorts, unintended watch along of sorts. But I think I have a couple of points from the first game.
Okay,
and
let's do that.
the thing is, I thought that for the first 10 overs, you had mentioned this point also, both the teams were like at 70 odd for 3. They lost Rohit Sharma at 70 odd for 3, and so did
they were 73 for 3 in 10 overs, literally.
Correct.
Both of them, yeah.
Also, I think was trying to sweep, and then it took a top edge, and then he was out caught.
Yeah.
So both the teams started slow in the first 3-4 overs, then they accelerated. And at 70 odd for 3, I remember Paras Mambre telling on television that it's a fairly simple thing. We have the bowlers to execute change of pace, and I think we're very happy with the unit we have. But as much as Paras Mambre said that, I saw that the MI's bowling was a series of, was like a two-half thing, you could very clearly see what the difference in the bowling lineup was. You saw Deepak Chahar, Jasprit Bumrah, and Mitchell Santner. Together, these guys have bowled 10 overs, and they've gone for 63 runs, which is fairly economical.
Which is
But
good, yeah.
That's really good.
and that also had about like half of those balls, 31 of the 60 balls bowled by these three bowlers were dot balls. That's a fair amount of pressure at a high
No, so
quality
I'll
bowling.
put one context to this. They were also in the early part of the game. See, I think DC, knowing that they didn't have to chase much, didn't really, especially also they lost 2 early wickets, right? So I think they didn't really play a very aggressive game. It was 73 for 3, playing park cricket. Patum
Right.
Nisanka did hit a few audacious shots, but it was in the 11th over bowled by Corbin Bosch that Samir Rizvi started exploding. So it was overs number 11, 12, and 13, and the game was over, by which time they needed 5 runs and over. So he went for 16, 14, something like that. One over by him, one over by Markande, and one over by Shardul Thakur. These three, they just, after that they could block. David Miller was blocking Jasprit Bumrah.
Yeah, I think they were
not
very, very sane. They were like, I'm not going to take these chances.
no chances.
Like
Yeah.
it's very similar to how I think Pakistan had that game versus India in New York. And if Rizwan had just blocked Bumrah out, Pakistan would have had an easy win. But they then tried charging Bumrah and they lost a wicket. So I thought it was very, though I think that I was seeing comments on our group saying that this is just being so uninteresting and why are they just giving too much respect to Bumrah. You kind of see the strategy of where they're also coming from. There is some kind of echo noise that's coming. You guys hearing it?
Yeah, it's in
Yeah,
Pranay's mic.
right. So either something is cooking or yeah, it looked like some movie music.
A
That
lot of
something is starting.
feedback. Yeah.
A lot of feedback. So yeah, I think Shardul's going for 3 overs for 41, and then Corbin Bosch going 3 overs for 39. That effectively for them killed out because they were able to get 10 overs of bowling, which they very smartly DC decided that they're not going to go attack these bowlers, and then they went all out attack against the others. Very calculated move. So yeah, this was the point that I kind of observed. And Mumbai's bowling is it's divided into two halves, and not just that. Another thought that I had was MI's middle order in the
Sorry, so I'll just correct myself. Over number 11 bowled by Corbin Bosch. Samir Rizvi went 4-4-6-6. 20 runs in that over. Markande bowled the 12th over, went for 14. Bumrah came in and bowled a 1-run over. And then Deepak Chahar went for 13. And Shardul Thakur went for 17. So this was the pattern of that game. So between overs number 11 and 15, they got 35 and 65 with a 1-run over from Bumrah included. So that's where so it was that kind of pitch where you could accelerate once you got in, I feel. And I think the Mumbai batters, credit to DC bowlers, were never allowed to get away because
Right.
Rohit Sharma did get set. Rohit Sharma got, how many did he get in the end? 40 odd, I think.
35 of 26, 35 of 26.
5 of 26. Surya Kumar Yadav got 50. There was Namandir who got settled in. But that's the thing, right? They were never allowed to get away. And I think that was where.
Yeah, I don't think anybody went on to score like a big knock except for Surya. And if you look at their middle order too, these are their scores. Their strike rates are essentially what? Apart from the 1%. Yeah, so 63 of the last 45 balls. And if you look at their last four batters.
And that is
and
2 fours of the last 2 balls. So they were looking like it was 150 total at one point.
Correct. 19.2, they were 150 for 6. And I think this is where I feel in a day game, right? It's a very true surface where nothing's going to change. There's no dew that's about to come. Maybe there is some level of deterioration if at all it happens. So that way, I thought this was a very true reflection of the team's abilities with the ball and with the bat. So I just think Mumbai suddenly have discovered that what initially looked like a car with a 6th gear, a Porsche with a 6th gear, suddenly now feels like an ambassador with a 2nd gear, that is trudging very slowly in a traffic jam. Didn't expect to see that. I wanted to see that happen to Punjab last night, but Punjab, of course, have a very well-oiled machine. And somehow doesn't happen in these CSK games when you want to see a different result.
But
Talking of that,
without
Trinay, I think Trinay went to the game yesterday at Chepauk. Trinay, if you had like
came
2-3 standout moments from the game, anything that you had to observe?
Today's or yesterday's?
Yesterday's,
yesterday's from the
just
stands.
from the stadium.
Can you? Yeah.
Yeah,
Priyansh Arya, I mean, he destroyed all of our new ball bowlers. The only chance we had was to take a couple of wickets up front. He allowed Prabhsimran to settle in, who didn't really look good. So my first standout would be Priyansh Arya. The second one, an out of form Ayush Matre after Samson got out wasn't a good dismissal. Ayush Matre's knock. Really enjoyed that. He played well. Third one, I know this is a little cliche, but I'll go for Shreyas Iyer. His knock was so nonchalant. It didn't look like he was making runs. He was just, making
he was
4 and 6
swagging.
hitting look less. Yeah,
He was
he
aura
raised his
farming. I
bat.
think that's the term, right? You guys use.
Yeah, aura farming. He scored a 50 and I didn't even notice. I was going back home. I opened my phone and I realized he scored a 50, which was, I didn't see him raising his bat. He didn't seem to care. He was average farming or stat padding, as you all might call it.
No, I think Shreyas Iyer is in that form of his life. It's just unfortunate with that kind of form and leadership. He's not in India's T20I squad. But that said, anything else?
Yeah, but
That has some other
Yeah,
undertones to it, doesn't it?
Which one?
let's come back to today's game. I feel that there were today. I think across I saw two players who I think will be India players. I think Samir Rizvi will be one, and I think Ashok Sharma will be one. I liked his action. I know there's still a bit of rawness, but the pace is there. He gets good lengths. He's got a decent enough Yorker, which he needs to, so I see him. I see him as an India prospect, and I
What
think he
about
couldn't have had a better coach than Ashish Nehra to begin his.
Neerav, what do you think about the 22-year-old Samir Rizvi? Do you think he could make it to the India team?
I think so. I think he's based on today's performance and yesterday's performance, and some bits and pieces I've been seeing of him of late. So I've been on this pod. I've said I've had a tough time believing he's 22 years old because I first saw him I think 6 7 years back. Make a some first class runs. But sorry, this is distracting. I think some of us might join you in your protest, Srivai. So plan for it. Just let us know the route. We'll be there. Maybe we'll stream a pod from the streets of Indranagar.
Oh yeah.
So coming back to Samir Rizvi, I think the guys got it, man. Today was an exceptional innings. It was what was it? It was a 70-run partnership in which this guy gets 6 runs or something, right? David Miller. It's not a tail-ender. It's David Miller we're talking about. So I think David Miller got 1 run in their first 50-run partnership, and then he scored a 4 somewhere. So it's a special. It wasn't like he was farming the bowling. He was, hitting a couple of sixes and then tossing the strike back. He's special, but then again, he is behind a few people in the queue to get into India's middle order in T20.
But he's young. If he waits another 5 years, he could get in. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's what people said of Sanju Samson. Samson's been around. He's just got his due only in the last couple of years. So yeah, it can be a long way.
The good thing is we've got Zimbabwe series, which is where normally these things are taken in. I'm hoping to see a Vaibhav Suryavanshi, Yashasvi get a long run at, maybe even a Riyan Parag, Shreyas Iyer, the guys who've not been getting the India cap in the T20. I think these guys deserve to be sent to Zimbabwe to see their skills, right, against a relatively weaker side. No better opportunity.
Coming back to the game, when Mumbai started bowling to Delhi, they opened with Chahar, who took a wicket, and then Bumrah got 1 over. But then, surprisingly, the 4th over, instead of going to Bumrah or Thakur or one of their pacers who'd been bowling well, they went to Mitchell Santner, who went for 11 runs. Do you think they should have given it to one of their pacers looking for another wicket, or at least trying to slow things down? Because I don't think Pathum would have targeted the Pacers. I mean, his eyes started gleaming when Santana came on. And I know Santana's overall figures look good because his other 2 overs were good, but his first over went for runs. His power play over. What are your thoughts on that, Karthik, Nirav?
Nirav, you want to take that?
I mean, so you have to take a chance, right? Against some bowler, especially the sixth over of the power play, is the over where you have to go because that's your last opportunity to maximize. And given that they were what, 37, 38, or were they more than that?
I think they were 5 overs, 39 for
No. This was the fourth over. This was the fourth over of the game. Chahar bowled the first and third. Bumrah bowled the second, and the fourth was Santana who went for 10-11. Yeah.
10 runs, yeah, 10 runs.
So 10 runs in the power play is a power over, in today's day and age. You'd be okay with 10 runs in the power play.
No, but you just had Chahar who'd taken a wicket and given only 2 or 3 runs. On both sides, neither of them could maximize the power play as much as other teams have. Kevin Peterson on commentary had said that this was not a usual IPL wicket that we've been seeing. It's a little more neutral. It's not here, it's not there. And the new ball is what seemed to have gotten both teams off the ground. They both reacted to it differently. Both of them lost early wickets, so that's where I was coming from.
So the whole point was, I think, similar to what King Biryani is also saying, that if you had that extra over of Deepak Chahar, maybe there was an opportunity to go pick wickets. Did you need to bring Mitchell Santner?
Didn't he bowl the third over in the power play also?
He only got 2 or 3 in the power play. Dhoni would usually bowl him out all 4.
No, you can only bowl 3.
You're talking about history. Yeah, exactly. That's why 2 or 3 is a huge difference in that number. But in the match today, I think Deepak Chahar bowled, I think, the first over, where I think second over.
Yeah, he got Rahul. Deepak bowled the first
Rahul.
Yeah.
1, 3 and 13.
And he bowled the second over. So he's got 2 overs in.
Yeah.
So I think I don't.
The thing is, they also have other. I mean, Shardul is also a new ball kind of bowler, right?
They used him really late. He came on in the 5th or the 6th. He's more of a first change bowler.
6th over. So 6th over, he went for 16 today. So it's while Shardul was, he had a very good comeback on his initiation to Mumbai Indians. He got like 2 wickets in that earlier game against KKR. But I think today it looked like they were able to, target him and take him on, because they had just started seeing some runs through Mitchell Santner in that 4th over, and in the 5th over they got 16 runs of the Shardul Thakur over. So I think that's also the time when even Mumbai started to hit and increase their scores. They were also struggling when they batted. They were like 20 or 25 out for 2 and 4 overs. Very similar score lines. And I don't think Mumbai targeted Delhi's bowlers as much. The big overs really didn't come. I only remember seeing one 11-run over right after the power play.
They didn't ever get away. It was never more than 8 runs and over. Never.
Correct.
So, it was always in control, maybe the odd over when I was going through it. The last over went for 14. 17.
But for a 160-run chase, that's all you need. You only need the 1 or 2 overs. And they don't have a designated new ball bowler as such.
Am I batting first? Didn't get away over 8 runs and over. Whereas DC stayed in the chase because they didn't need to ever bother. Right? There's never a panic if you're scoring, if you want only 8 runs and over. And as I said, overs number 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 65 runs, including one Bumrah over for 1 run. So
but MI never cut them off. They never try to cut off their scoring. They don't have a designated power play bowler who is going to be bowl 3 or finish up front. Bolt is not in the side anymore for whatever reason. Bumrah bowls. Yeah, today he wasn't. Yeah, for today's combination. And Bumrah bowls only 1 up front. He bowls 2 at the death and 1 in the middle, or you can change that depending on what you need. Thakur has always been a first change bowler. I don't ever remember him opening for India.
His best skill is as a new ball bowler. In the
because you see the amount of swing Shardul Thakur also gets, right?
Shardul gets, yeah.
But he's not good enough to be a new ball bowler for MI or for Chahar and Bumrah.
If it's Chahar, then you give them the new ball. But it's also, let's put it this way, even today RR had 4 new ball bowlers, right? They went with Jofra Archer and Andre Berger, but as far as I understand, and I've been seeing IPL for the last several years, Sandeep Sharma is a new ball bowler. He gets swing up front, and so is Tushar Deshpande, right? That's where they damage the most. So when you have the problem of too many guys who all need the new ball, you have to pick and choose and rotate, right, as best as you can. So at times like this, India was actually not even calling Bumrah in the power play. India in the last 6 months before the,
Yeah.
including I think the Asia Cup, right, where Bumrah was told come after because he's got enough new ball options. I mean, in the final of the Asia Cup, they even give the new ball to Dubey because he swung the ball, wasn't it? The final of the Asia Cup, or one
Yeah, it
such
was
game.
Dubey.
Dubey got a new ball out of nowhere. Some way game it was. Because there was swing, and then so if guys are getting swing up front, Hardik and Arshdeep and company, so Bumrah was. So anyway, the point I'm making is that when you have enough bowlers who are only effective, because see, Shardul Thakur and Deepak Chahar are completely ineffective after that portion because they're bowling in the late 120s, and on
Right,
pata wickets,
right.
then you are sitting yourself, your lengths are sitting up to be hit. So that is
And
the
that's a
challenge
point.
for.
It's a very valid point because Shardul Thakur bowled his first over in the sixth, where the swing in a new ball is almost gone after the third or the fourth over. So you're not going to get that swing. So sometimes it becomes easy to target Shardul Thakur, and that's probably why I think that the two batters there felt that okay, Shardul Thakur is a good bowler to go and attack in that sixth over, and they got 16 runs off it. But while we are at it trying to decipher MI versus DC, there is a little battle going on between two of our commenters, where I think Steve Bhai is asking what kind of a name is a King Biryani, and King Biryani is retorting saying what kind of a name is Steve Bhai. So as much as we're talking about MI and DC, we're having the Steve Bhai versus
The
Steve
rivalry
Biryani.
between Steve Bhai. So this is it. This is the cow corner dugout where once the game finishes, the needling begins. And please subscribe to have the opportunity to call out people's names on YouTube and get an opportunity to comment and give us um, your thoughts. So the comments are carrying on, and
Good. Can we ban one
it's
of them,
fun. It's
please?
fun for us to yeah. So if you appreciate if you can subscribe to the channel and help us grow this banter a bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
so
it,
getting back now. Yeah.
No, okay. On that point again, if you know those two can only bowl in the power play, then why is Mitch Santner getting the fourth over? That is completely unnecessary. The two right-handers thing is irrelevant when Patum's at the crease. I still,
I don't know.
Maybe they just
I think
wanted
they
to.
messed up tactics there.
Of course.
Bumrah
I
can
think,
bowl anywhere.
which is the thing that I think most teams have
I think
discovered.
they were trying the best option to get wickets, right? At that point. Who are the more, I mean, that's what they felt. Like a Mitch Santner would like to
See,
get a wicket.
Mitch Santner ideally quite in
He's a holding bowler, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a holding bowler because he's
Yeah.
not the one. He's a 4 overs, no more than 21 runs, 1 wicket kind of a bowler. Because having played so much of fantasy, Mitchell Santner is always the guy who only getting 25 points. Or maybe 27, 28 points because of the extra maiden over in between. But from a wicket standpoint, he's not really somebody who will. So Mitchell Santner will create pressure at one end and somebody else will then benefit. So that's how in fantasy you end up picking up who your teammate should be, right? So that way, I felt that maybe they got in Mitchell Santner just so that they were able to keep things quiet. But with the 160 target, I think they wanted to definitely go out there and take wickets. And they were like 3 overs, 13 for 2. And at that point, it's interesting what was the reasoning behind Mitchell Santner coming there. Did they want to keep more pressure? Because Akshar Patel bowled a similar, over in the fourth over for against Mumbai Indians, and that was a 2-run over. Now that 2-run over basically increased the pressure, but though I don't think a wicket released. Mumbai preferred to score slow, but they did not succumb to the pressure. But what it also meant is they never got their score going. So they kind of took their risks much later on, and that was only the 10th over finally when I don't think they even had like a 12-run over for all those 6-7 overs after Akshar bowled. So the Akshar over kind of kept them on the back foot, and Mumbai were happy being on the back foot without really trying to attack him. So I think Mitchell Santner was a similar move, but in that case, I think we just happened to see that these guys scored runs off it.
No, I'll interject there. Akshar v Rohit, who was going at the time, is a proper matchup. Akshar's bowled around 70 balls to Rohit across T20s in the last 10 years or so. He's only given 63 runs, and as of today, he's gotten about 4 times. The average is 17.5 or in those realms. There is no matchup between Mitch Santner and Pathum Nissanka, especially in the power play. Their best bet would have been to bowl Shardul, Deepak, and finish them off then and there. Then have the Bumrahs, the Markandays, the Santners, and squeeze them later on.
Interesting point that you're not seeing a very active matchup between these bowlers. But if somebody in the know is on commenting or watching here, please do put your comments. We're waiting to read them. If you're commenting via YouTube on the Cow Corner Pod, to drop in a comment. If you're watching this on my Twitter, go to YouTube, subscribe. Please put in a comment. We're waiting to listen and have banter
You
around.
can't comment from Twitter. I think you can.
You can.
You can.
You can. I think we've got a couple of comments in from Twitter in the past. But Twitter people are lazy. Come on, Twitter people.
I don't know where would you go and comment on Twitter, because right now I'm seeing our own Twitter stream and it just says started 40 minutes ago. I don't think there's any. You can send a message, but you can't comment. This is probably what is my observation.
So message is the comment, right? There you go. Taran sends us a message from Twitter.
Hello.
Awesome. Thank you, Taran.
Nirav, another question to you.
Yeah. Sure.
Nitish Rana, in all the years you've covered IPL, is a spin basher. Am I wrong? He's better against spin.
He's always been a number 3, though.
He's always been a number 3.
You remember him as being perhaps a spin basher, but as a number 3, he'll be a fairly decent player of fast bowling as well, right? So I think in all his years, whether he was at MI initially, then I think he went to KKR, then he went to RR, then now to Delhi. I think he's been that competent enough India batter, domestic, who's good enough. Like, I mean, okay, is that
Jamima Rodgers?
Yeah, it is. So. I mean, yes, statistics may say he's a spin basher because we remember what he did to Ashwin a couple of times.
Ashwin, exactly. Yeah.
But he's a steady batter against fast bowling, I would imagine. I mean, I don't have the statistics at hand, but given that he's a number 3, he's got to be a good pace player.
No, we can go off the last 2 games. We don't need to bring up the numbers here. He was 15 of 7 last game, and today he was 0 of 3, and he tried to get off strike because he could not score off the pace bowlers. Like that happened last game, and he was under pressure this game as well. He tried to get off, and good throw from Bumrah, no doubt. But do you seriously want a guy like that at number 3? I don't know, you have an Abhishek Porel there.
Yeah, I would personally have. I mean, given that they have the option, I would go with Karun Nair as that option. But I guess they want enough lefties in the top order, right? Because
Porel's a lefty.
Porel is lefty,
and Porel was in fact playing.
Last year. He was an impact last year a lot of the times.
I would even look at Samir Rizvi coming up at number 3 and then figuring out whether you want an Ashutosh Sharma down the line. Because you've got a quality enough batters at 3, 4, 5. If you bring in, assuming Nitish Rana fails once more times, then Samir Rizvi at 3, Tristan Stubbs at 4.
No, keep the middle order.
Akshar
they have
David Miller at 5 and 6. Allows you to, then that impact player can be an Ashutosh or another option at the down the line, right?
Prithvi Shaw's on the bench. I think we forgot about him.
Yeah, but Prithvi Shaw's not coming in till, both Pathum Nissanka and KL Rahul are available, right?
No, Prithvi can bat at 3.
He's not coming with you.
Then Porel.
Not ahead of Karun Nair. Not ahead of Karun Nair, not ahead of Abhishek Porel.
Fair enough.
Wow. While we're talking about who should come in number 3, I agree Bumrah shouldn't be at number 3. Is that a sarcastic comment?
That's a dig at Gautam Gambhir, if anything.
So while we are at this, even I can understand that. Is that a Gen Z joke, Trinay?
No. All my generation hates Gambhir. Playing Washi at 3, the all-rounders thingy, playing NKR, the South Africa and the New Zealand series, basically. Absolute rage bait. We'll get to that. There's enough Test cricket to come, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm scared we might lose to Sri Lanka. But yes, moving on. We've gone past this game, the MI versus DC game.
Yep.
Interesting that DC, I remember there's a fan group called DC Toli and they are like organizing screenings and matchups in Delhi. And my first reaction whenever I hear is like, Delhi actually has fans, and then DC Tool is actually organizing like a fair amount of
It's
50,
grown. It's
60
grown over
people.
the few years. I think they've made a conscious effort, and now when the team does well, I mean, they started doing
It's
well
there.
once they became DC rather than they were DD, right? I think towards the back end of DD, I think the Delhi fans had lost faith in their own team, and then I think slowly it started. Slowly.
Yeah.
And I think that's it's good to see different teams and fan groups also be passionate about it. Otherwise, the IPL is otherwise just a three team race with Sunrisers and Kolkata having additional fans, but otherwise it's just MI, CSK, and RCB. But that said, we have a big game tomorrow: CSK versus RCB. And they're calling it
No,
Super
that's not the
Sunday.
first game. The 10th game
I
is
know
Sunrisers versus Lucknow
LSG.
at
Oh,
Hyderabad.
not
Yeah.
Lucknow. Oh no.
Why again? You're waiting to see what Sanjeev Goenka's reaction is going to be.
I am waiting to see Nicholas Puran bat at number 10.
Well, I think they're just messing up with their whole top order. If Markram and Marsh have given you that kind of a stability, and we can speak about both these games, Markram and Marsh have given you that stability, but Pant is you can just use Pant only, in the first 6 overs. So it provides a very tough, problem statement. And right now it looks like a hodgepodge. And Justin Langer, I don't know if he's going to keep his job if this is going to happen.
Do you seriously think that decision came from Justin Langer? Or do you think Pant was like, no, I want to open? That does not seem like a Justin Langer thing to do.
I think, that's what I was thinking on the pod 3 days back, that the Indian players maybe have the ability to say, to hell with all this. This is what I need to get into the team. And they might, while they are like technically Pant and KL are out of the team. It was a DC versus LSG game last time, I think, right? Was that the game? Or I think
It
LSG
was
was
the
DC. It was DC.
yeah.
So that's where I saw that KL is now decided to bat at the top of the order. Understandable with I think the team composition and stuff. But I was thinking whether KL wanted to resuscitate his India career batting at the top, even though there is like a glut of options that India has, especially India having moved on from the anchor format opener. So I don't know where KL is going to fit in, but I don't know, he played pretty well at number 4. I just feel there's lesser competition for KL at number 4 as a hitter, and collapse. If a collapse comes, somebody can herald the innings. I thought KL's doing well at that particular position, and the number of people to compete is still much lesser than the openers. But that comes to Rishabh
No,
Pant.
so, so I think KL knows that he's not in the T20I setup since the 2024 World Cup. Right before that, I think he was told that you're not in a consideration set and you won't be. Right? I think he had hit 30 by that point and he was not part of the thing, whether as opener or middle order batsman. So I think, given that, I think last year he started with DC at number 4 because they had opening options. Who were the openers? I've forgotten now.
Abhishek Porel was always batting.
Warner was there for a while.
Three.
Fraser McGurk.
Fraser McGurk was there last year.
Jake Fraser McGurk.
And somebody else.
Was Warner there last year? David Warner was there.
No. He was there? It's been like ages since I've seen David Warner back.
2 years,
David
I think.
No. David wasn't there last year. David Warner was 22-23.
Yes.
Because in 23, I remember a friend of mine actually is an agent of David Warner. And I keep getting... and I last remember having conversations about Warner only in 2023.
Okay, so Faf du Plessis and was opening for a while, with Fraser McGurk. And then they moved in KL Rahul once they decided to,
get rid of Fraser McGurk.
Fraser McGurk, yeah.
Yeah, he bombed 6 matches and then they brought in KL. Yeah.
I think eventually, this guy started out last game. Even Faf du Plessis started out the last couple of games.
Right.
By which time they got the Mustafizur and Mitchell Stark and middle order players, Tristan Stubbs and one more. So I think KL Rahul was forced to move up the order because their opening was a disaster. So I think that was the thing. And given that he was the wicket keeper, I think initially he was reluctant, but the fact that there was a backup in Abhishek Porel in the squad allowed him to, or in the 11, allowed him to take that opener's spot. I think he's one of those team guy things which you say, okay, in the best interest of the team, put KL Rahul up front and then he took that up. And he did well, right? Because he went up slowly. I think he got his 100 against RCB at number 3, if I'm not wrong. And then after that, he started winning. So he went up one step at a
Right.
time.
So that was the famous Kantara. Right. And I think with Rishabh Pant, it's just kind of maybe the opposite. I think Pant is very clear that he's not scoring runs if he's going to bat lower in the order. He's going to, unless it's a really flat wicket or he's batting in due. I think it's a perception that Pant feels that if he's going to bat in the first 5-6 overs, and maybe a number 3 is kind of ideal because the ball is not going to move if the point of entry is going to be the 4th, 5th over. But I'm just surprised that somebody like Pant is thinking at so much, because in 2016-17, the way Rishabh Pant used to bat against any kind of bowling, we've seen him as a swashbuckling batter, very talented. But sometimes your mind is clouded with this whole pressure of being a captain, 25, 26 lakh crores on your name. But 27 crores. So, but that reminds me of the person who put the 27 crores on Rishabh Pant, and that's Sanjeev Goenka. Quite a lot of chatter that's going out on Sanjeev Goenka as the team. There's obviously this animated conversation that we've seen with Sanjeev
We had a long
Goenka
chat on
and
this
KL
last night,
Rahul.
by the way, on the pod. You weren't there, but we had a fair few things. So I'm sure you wanted to have your say and your take. So please, we'll listen to you on this.
Yeah, I think sometimes it looks like a PR stunt, because the kind of videos now I'm getting on my feed is like, आपको पता है क्या गोयनका जी ने 15,000 स्टूडेंट्स को पढ़ाए थे और ये था लखनऊ का, ये है वो है. So sure, he might have done something good with respect to building a cultural legacy, which is otherwise not there. But the fact that I'm seeing all of these come on my feed at the same time also tells me that there is some PR that's being done. And yeah, it's a very interesting comment. Goenka or Hitler, who was worse?
We can get demonetized. Please don't say that.
Demonetized? I didn't get that. What's the joke?
I'll explain later. No, it's not a joke. I'll explain later. On Sanjeev Goenka,
you can't say
Neerav, you'll
the
know
H word,
this. Yeah, Neerav, you'll know this. This is now the first team that Goenka has owned.
He owned
No, that's a different
RPSG.
Goenka.
No,
RPSG
Sanjeev
was
Goenka. RPS. He
RPSG was
owned
in.
RPS.
Yeah, RPSG was in.
That was him.
No, hold on. There are two Goenkas here, okay? You're talking about RP
No,
Goenka
so there's a
and he.
no. RP Goenka is the father of Sanjeev Goenka, the RPG group, right? So RPG group has Sanjeev Goenka as the current legacy owner, and Sanjeev Goenka was the owner of the RPSG Pune teams as well as the LSG. That's where the Super Giants is coming.
See, okay, y'all will remember that Dhoni was the captain for the first
No,
year.
I know.
and then-
I have. Okay, so there is a poster right here which I wish I could share with you. It says produced by Sanjeev Goenka, directed by Neerav Ghosh. So that's my my history with Sanjeev Goenka 15 years ago. He produced I made one feature film called Soundtrack, and he was the producer. So I've been following his exploits over the years.
He had one very big balls move, sacking Dhoni as captain after the first year and then bringing in Steve Smith, who I absolutely adore. But there were
King of the
reports.
jungle. King of the jungle.
There were very credible reports from, okay, I'll name drop him, Dan Christian on a podcast, that even though Dhoni was not captain, he did not care what Smith or anybody else had to say. He would just walk out to bat when he felt like it. Field setting also, he'd keep moving it. And there were a lot of iffy reports about that. So the dynamics between foreign captains and coaches against your Indian star players is very tricky, very shafty, if I do say so myself. Neerav, any inside reports that you'd be willing to share?
I can't share it on a public platform, but happy to indulge you offline.
This is exactly how an 18-year-old behaves. He puts you on the spot and shoots. It's like, cholo, kuch bolo.
You're trying to get a scoop here.
No. So you're. I mean, sorry, Steve, but you're happy to. I mean, I'm happy to listen to shit talking of Sanjeev Goenka, but I personally have had no baggage with him. So I can't really. I mean, yes, he's a passionate guy.
We're not shit talking him here. We're not shit talking him here. He's a different kind of owner to your Ambani's. He's different.
Different is subjective, no?
Yeah, exactly. What is different mean?
Like, I mean, all of them are different.
It's different. कौन सा था ketchup का कुछ ad था ना? It's different.
Maggie, hot and sweet, hot and sour.
Yeah, hot.
It was before his time.
Correct.
There's Javed Jafri, another guy I have baggage. I mean, like old history with.
Okay,
Yeah,
moving on from Goenka, do you want to? Shall we get to the game GT versus RR? I don't think we spoke much about that, so you want to start there?
sure.
Sure.
Do we want to,
I
or do we?
Yeah.
We want to just. I mean, it was a tight game, so it deserves a.
Yeah, I think one question I have is when I look at Shah Rukh Khan, he was brought in as an impact player. There was a big collapse that happened. Shah Rukh, where is the trust coming in a player like Shah Rukh? You backed him for quite a long time. Even in TNPL, Shah Rukh's really not been setting the league ablaze with his batting. His bowling is actually more famous than his batting in TNPL. Has Shah Rukh basically gone off the hill for anything to do with the franchise yet? And I think that to me is a very valid question because when he hit that six, he pulled that six, right? It was like, wow, with that long lever, tall, this thing, the guy is muscling. But Shah Rukh is probably deceived to be. I mean, everybody thought he's going to be the Indian Kieran Pollard, but I don't think it ever worked out. And it's been far too long since Shah Rukh's just been there.
Steve, I agree.
Shahrukh came in 24 as a hopeful answer to GT's number 6 problem, because from the time the GT began, I've said this a couple of times, there was a problem that their batting finished at 5 always, and that included Hardik Pandya when in the early days, right? So they couldn't extend their batting. They tried Vijay Shankar. Vijay Shankar had a very good season one of the years, but yet that couldn't extend the batting, right? It always felt like GT 3 down and it's over, as was true today as well. So there were times in the year they won that at 4 and 5, there was Hardik, Miller, and Tewatia who were delivering, invariably staying not out in chases, invariably getting the 70 of the last 5 overs without getting dismissed. The match in which the only matches they lost were the matches where these two guys got out, right? All the other matches. So those were that was pretty much the track record in 22 and 23, and therefore I think they've subsequently every auction tried to fill in that gap, try to find that all-rounder, try to find that one fix, who will be your sixth bowler. Especially when Hardik goes, then it becomes a massive hole to fill. And then the impact rule. So I think 2024, the fact that Hardik left and the impact player came in, they've not been able to even the next season fix it. So currently also they have Washington Sundar all-rounder at 4, although he didn't bowl today. They have a Glenn Phillips at 5, over 4 and 5, the reverse way. And that's it. Their overseas player at 5 finishes the batting. So now what I feel they need is, I think they need one more batter to come in somewhere in the top 6, right? And between Tewatia and Shah Rukh, there has to be one. Whoever, pick one who's going to be there, spin basher or late order finisher. Because
they can't bash spin. They cannot bash spin.
Both can't.
Neither can Washi.
Very interesting graphic.
Yeah, all 4 can't bash spin.
Got this graphics. That's what the statistics say. But I mean, I've seen enough of them in the nets over 3 years to tell you that against spin, 4 out of 6 times they try to hit it will go for 6. So now, are we seeing those other 2 occasions? Because today also, Tewatia got a 4 and 6 away, right, of his first 2 balls against Bishnoi. So it's just that he got the underage on the 3rd one. So now, if that underage had gotten past the wicket keeper, it was 4 runs. So it's so there are things which I'm not saying statistics is bullshit, but I feel that there is one of these 2 can be your spin basher, can be
right.
better
see
than
what you.
So I feel
what you see, what you see in the nets and what happens in a match are completely different. I have been at enough selections to know that what you see in matches is completely different.
I think where Dheerav is coming from is, while you have history of performances that say that in T20I or in T20s, while they don't start against spin, it's not like they don't have a game against spin. He's seen him batting in the nets, and he's seen that they're able to basically go. They have a range of strokes against spin, but it's just that they've not been able to execute it. So I don't think it's an ability problem. It's basically an execution problem, which we're seeing now as a pattern over quite a few seasons now.
Yeah, but if this happened for 1 season, you could be like, okay, fine, it's 1 season. They'll regress to the mean, or they will show us that true potential. Tewatia is on the wrong side of 35, if I'm not wrong. Shah Rukh Khan is not getting younger either. It's been too long to be like, "Arey, they can bash spin." We've seen it in the nets. How much longer can you be pushing it on? And it's not just to prove them. Washi can't hit spin either, and neither can Phillips.
The line I liked the most was regress to the mean. It just shows you're done with your class 12 exams, and all of those concepts are they're
Uh,
right.
that's not in syllabus, but sure.
But yeah, that was the GT RR game. Quite an interesting game. But the bigger question is, who's the best owner in the league, and is it Kasi Tata?
Not anymore.
I was just remarking this to my
He's a
mother.
CEO,
My
he's not an owner, right?
He's the CEO, right. And I was just
According
remarking
to
to
me,
my
CSK management is probably the least organized for the last 1 or 2 years, based on auction strategies and what they've come with.
So I
there's
had gone
a
to my
CSK they have
relatives.
I mean, it's ridiculous that they had the most money and they have the shittiest teams. So
True. Oh my god.
KKR still has options in the bench, not A-list options, but the fact. Sorry.
So I just went to my cousin's place in Bangalore. They're long-term Bangalore residents. We're all the same family. And my mother's contemporary, she basically asked, CSK thothurthu in Tamil, and she was like, RCB is winning. So when the question was there, I also told them that I remember the very famous comment. It happened, I think, in 2019 or 20, where somebody asked Kasi on, what is your strategy at the auction? What are you going to do? And Kasi in Tamil basically made a very mama-like comment which said, basically, it means my leader knows what he exactly wants. Our strategy is our leader's strategy. And I also remember seeing an Ambati Raidu video that says, addressed, I think, on the broadcaster Star Sports, addressed to Ruturaj, say, hey, Ruturaj, keep it simple, man. That's how we won. So keep it simple. We'll go back to winning. Now, I think what they're missing the point is MS Dhoni as a tactician or he's a very practical person. He knew, by reading the game, by looking at a bowler. So a lot of intelligence was embedded in MS deciding to do a bunch of stuff without that knowledge really going out. Because I've heard that there were no team meetings. A lot of it was what was strategized there. Fleming as a coach had his own one-on-one communication with the players, but it was MS who handled the players on the ground. So I think the difference is now starting to come across because nobody knows what should the strategy be. Because I remember in that first game at Guwahati, Ruturaj made a comment that, hey, we're not the team that goes all out. We don't like doing that. And actually, so it then tells me that the strategy is something different. The execution is something very different. And if the captain is not completely aligned with what could be, the modern day T20 strategy of going, going all out, because in Ruturaj's shot was he left all the three stumps to a high quality pacer and then got out. So I'm a little surprised with the way CSK has performed, and the point being that you had money in the auction, and then you were just misguided by Sunrisers, and then picked up 14 lakhs. There are good players, but I don't think.
Cruz, Karthik, start thinking Cruz.
What is Cruz?
I said start thinking crores. You said 14 lakhs.
14
Amount.
Okay. Yeah, I'm at. मैं यही होता है ना जब गरीब लोग पॉडकास्ट
औकात लाख की होती है, correct.
See, MS, it's public knowledge at this point that MS is not a fan of team meetings, which it can have his upside, but when he leaves, how much of MS is knowledge is he leaving behind? Will his juniors be able to pick up on? How much of Ruturaj Gaikwad's captaincy, or how much has he learned from MS Dhoni? Because MS comes, he does his job.
He obviously he was gifted with superior, and he is gifted with superior cricket acumen, right? And he also had, all his winning years, there was a joke about CSK being Dad's army. The fact is that he had experienced players always, right? He would throw. What was the 11 in the 23 win? There was Ajinkya Rane in the 11. There was Raidu in the 11. There was enough experience, right? There was Devon Conway opener, who was the other Rituraj Gaikwad opening. Ravindra Jadeja. There was, so there was a bunch of guys with a lot of experience. And in the earlier era, he always had the Faf du Plessis, the Shane Watson, even in the bowling attack, there was Deepak Chahar. These are all solid, seasoned pros. So
Right.
in Hindi, you have to say, Samardar ko ishara kafi hai. So
Right.
subtle thing to those bowlers would get them to understand what they needed to do according to him. Which
Right.
now I don't know with this age group whether kid 17-year-old even listen to anybody. Forget listening to him, right? I don't know. I'm not trying to be judgmental on a Ayush Matre or whoever else the youngsters in the team are, but in an absence of a team meeting, does the 17-year-old guy survive? Right? It's okay
Right.
for the 30-year-olds to understand what they have to do. They've done it enough number of times. They know instinctively what to do. Ravindra Jadeja knew exactly what Mohit Sharma was going to bowl those last two balls. He knew exactly where to hit it. Right? Does the 17-year-old, 18-year-old know it? Because it's not about does that the cricket acumen in the dressing room, is it in the air? That's where you absorb things from. You don't get told, nobody gets told in this situation do this, right? Or in this situation do this. It's something you learn out of witnessing other people do it, and then you learn, right? You develop instincts of when to go inside the line. You develop instincts of when to be preemptive, when to play the reverse sweep. There is always these things which don't get told. These are things you practice, and then you decide on the match situation, at the ball coming to you, can I do this? Right? That is what I feel is not being translated now. Or is impossible to translate with the shift in the captaincy. Because not only is Rituraj Gaikwad inheriting a completely new team, he's inheriting a new generation, right? And
Right.
now this generation cannot operate the same way the previous generation did, which means that according to me, if Mahendra Singh Dhoni is now not part of the core cricket thinking group, then according to me, Kashi, Stephen Fleming, all those people have to go. So you have to bring in somebody who then they align and build something together. Because
Right.
you have a captain stepping out after 16 years or 15, 16 years, you have to have the rest of the management with them go, because they all came from 2008 together, right?
No, I
I
would.
feel that whole lot has to change. It can't happen with just Rituraj becoming. You can't judge Rituraj in captaincy because he's captaining with the thinking of another generation.
Right. Right.
I'd argue you keep Kasi because he has been running, as Steve Bhai mentioned earlier, he's been running Division Cricket, League Cricket here for the past 40 to 50 years. You can extract talent from there, and he's a smart guy, but I feel he's given the reins to Fleming, Dhoni, and the other Michael Hussey, whoever else, batting coach, bowling coach, etc. So if you getting rid of, I don't think Kasi should be, I don't think we should get rid of him. Stephen Fleming, on the other hand, is a
You're
very
sticking up for the Tamilians, you are. Just the
No, I
Tamilian
mean,
should stay. Why?
no.
no,
Let
I don't think
the
he's that. No,
Fleming's
to
had
me, I
no
think
success out of without Dhoni.
no. The way I'm seeing
No,
it, right?
Fleming has had no
Starting
success in Texas Super Kings or whatever, wherever else he plays.
Yeah, he's had none. He
He's got no
coaches
success.
franchise leagues all over. He's not won
He's
anything.
got no success in any, as far
One
as I know.
final, I think that's all.
So it's while it's unfair to give him no credit, I think giving Dhoni credit for everything also is a bit too much. So it's together, right? It's a unit which worked very well together since 2008. Final final win, playoff, final win for all its, all the way till 2020, right? 1 year,
They had a
then they
system which
2010,
worked for 12 to
which
15
worked for
years,
15,
and now
16, 15, 16
yeah.
years ago. It's not, but what has changed? It changes that only the captain is gone out, right? So for me, that doesn't work. If the era is changing, then change everything. Then start afresh and
right.
build. And I don't think there was a succession planning, say, quite as thought through as it should have been in a gigantic setup like that. Like, okay, there is,
Right.
because remember that there was a stopgap, or rather there was a Jadeja as captain at one point, right? And then there was
Correct.
some thing. So the succession planning was handing over a captaincy from a 43-year-old to a 37-year-old. That doesn't make sense. And okay, with Rituraj coming in, then you bring in a Sanju Samson from outside and say, don't become captain. Though you are one of the most successful captains around, right? So all this is I mean, I'm sure when they brought in Sanju, it was understood that Rituraj will continue, but give Rituraj his coach, his thing also, right? Somebody he's not just sitting quietly in a room and saying yes, sir.
Right.
Has he
Right.
been around the
I think
block enough to demand new coaching staff? How much
why not,
backing?
yeah? Rituraj has been
No, I
around in
don't.
this setup for 8 years now.
He
He's a
has,
2020
but
product.
him demanding his own coach. I mean, imagine him walking to Kasi's room and being like, "I want this coach."
No, I think when as a captain or as a leader, right? You want your era, and you have that say in how you want to build your team. Like MS had that say in how he wanted to run the team, and CSK has gone by that. They're not a very management interfering unit, and that way having any like even with Owen Morgan, right, was very involved. There's a very nice book by Nick Hoult on how Owen Morgan's men made that change, and he talks about the power that he had in trying to have specialists for each position, people who could commit to a certain brand of cricket. So I think like that Ruturaj also maybe wants that, but I found it a little strange
No,
that
I don't know whether he
he's
wants
already
it,
said,
but he deserves it. That's my
He
point.
deserves it, yeah.
Yeah.
No, see, Dhoni had the credit in the bank from the 2007 World Cup win. He had that credit to go off on. Owen Morgan, he was probably their Neerav, correct me if I'm wrong. He was probably their best white ball batter at the time, and they had just gotten knocked out by Bangladesh in a World Cup. So there was a lot of outcry. There was a lot of call for change. Here, you all have Dhoni around. You have Fleming around. All the fans just want to see Dhoni come and bash another 2 sixes at the end of the game. There is no call for heads. No one is calling for Fleming's head. The only rumors I've heard is that, not rumors exactly, fans want Rutraj to go for whatever reason and bring in Samson as captain, which is blasphemy, which is slander on Rutraj's fair name, in my opinion.
yeah, I don't know how that's going to pan out, but it's a very interesting thing that I saw Ruturaj made a comment saying that, hey, yeah, our options wasn't great. This is the team we have to live with it. So it basically said on game 2 of a 14-game tourney that, guys, stop expecting the world. This is the team we have. So there's a rootedness to reality. Also, it meant that CSK is, in a very different phase. So I was also pretty rooted to reality that CSK had no chance trying to win that game against Punjab if they were batting first. Because if CSK is able to score 210, it means the par score is about 230,
250. Yeah.
And if Punjab, and this is the thing with Punjab, right? On a 160 wicket, those guys will score 210 because they're always an above par team. And unless and until they're an above par batting team, above par bowling team. Now, against such a team, the only way you can you can really do well is if Dew basically takes one of those components out. And if that wasn't coming for CSK, I didn't see them winning. And my judgments are going to be the same even against RCB in Bangalore, because it's again one of those true surfaces where you score 200, 220. And if you're not able to get those extra few runs that a surface like this mandates, I think CSK is again asking for trouble with a fairly nascent, somebody just said, school bowling attack, like a middle school team.
Yeah.
That's how it is. Disappointing. A 206 target was just chased down with about eight balls to spare. So CSK have a huge task on hand. It's very unlike for CSK fans, and most CSK fans are right now in their first line of defense, which is, hey, how many cups do you have?
5
Daddy?
cups.
So, yeah.
No. See, the thing is, this is not like GT. Okay, you have guys who can come in and replace, take spots in the batting order. You have guys who can bash spin, who can bash pace. They are not getting their combinations right. I feel that's the bare thing you can say, because apparently the average score on Chepauk over the last 5 games is 192, and we made 210. As much as you two glaze Punjab's bowling lineup, they were subpar yesterday. They didn't seem to have their plans on point. Besides, spamming Yuzvendra Chahal, that's the only thing which they got right. The pacers all got bashed. Jansen, whoever it was.
I didn't think they got bashed. I think 210 was an under par total.
192 was the average score for the last 5
games. They pulled things back, I think, very well.
You have Safraz Khan scoring like 3 boundaries behind third man, and you're not moving a fielder. Like, what's the logic there?
Okay, you're looking at a lot of
very micro. Very micro.
I think if you zone out a bit, ICC wickets are very differently made from what these wickets are there for the IPL. Because in the IPL, it's like, that is your max amount of runs that you
Okay,
can
so
make.
no. So even keeping ICC in mind, this was the very same wicket in which India got 250 plus, right?
Against
So
Yeah.
Zimbabwe,
250
right?
was par.
That was
250 was par.
Zimbabwe.
Yeah, but that 250
Punjab
is
are bad.
that's not
They're still better than Zimbabwe.
who's
And
Punjab's bowling attack is better, but how much better? I mean, you're supposed to be. So this is a 240, 230 to 240 was a winning total. So they didn't get enough runs on the board, despite
Right.
being over 100 runs in the first 10 overs. The back end didn't go up. So which means Punjab bowled very well and pulled them back. What did they get in the last five? Couldn't have been more than 50, 60 runs.
Yeah, that's because Dubey and Prashant. Yeah, Veer was 6 of 7 balls.
There
Dhoni,
you
as
go.
much as I don't want, I wouldn't like, he would have been at least 20 of those 7 balls. So you can argue with the new guy and Dubey didn't finish it off properly.
Dubai did
And
well. 40 of
not
25
really.
or what.
He was plodding for a really long time. And he didn't, at the end, I feel they left a couple of runs on the board. And
They left 20 runs on that.
yeah, no, that's not my point. My point is they have players they can bring in. Urvil's on the bench. Dhoni is going to come back at some point. You have guys you can bring in. You are not combining this correctly. Prashant Veer was brought, as you said yesterday. He is a bowler. He is a Jadeja replacement, basically. A guy who can give you 4 overs, who can also whack it. He didn't bowl a single over yesterday. So why play him if you don't think his bowling is up to par? Play Urvil Patel at that spot. 7 balls, he would have gotten you 30 minimum. Not 30,
No,
20.
not just
20.
that, right? You're talking about Urvil Patel for the bat. I think for the ball, why is somebody like Akhil Hossain not even being considered? One of the most decent top 5 power play bowlers in T20Is. Akhil Hossain is not being considered. And the point on how the 20-run difference, I remember seeing the score. CSK was 57 for 1 in the power play. Punjab was 68 for 1. That's 11-run advantage. In the middle over, CSK made 99 for 3. Punjab made 109 for 2. Again, a 10-run advantage. So you're already having like a 20-run difference in just the power play and the middle overs. And even in the boundary count, not the boundary count the way England did it, but if you look at the runs that you've got from sixes and fours, Chennai had 126, Punjab had 146. Again, a 20-run difference. So I think it is these margins that make up. It is essentially like 1 over of 2 boundaries or 1 good
Is
over where you restricted.
is Brevis
And
playing
that's
tomorrow?
Is it?
unless I make the jaunt from Jayanagar to Kapan Park and then watch them through this thing, I don't think we'll have an answer. But
He was batting in the
Let's
Nets
see.
the day before. He was batting in the Nets the day before the Punjab game. Him
But so was
and
Dhoni.
yeah, so was Dhoni. Yeah, so if he's fit enough to bat, and he was whacking it apparently. I didn't go in person. I had somebody go there. Both of them were okay. Forget about Dhoni. Brevis was whacking it apparently, so he should be playing on tomorrow. I hope he slots in. Would you play? I don't think you play Akhil at. If they're not willing to play Akhil at Chepauk, there's no chance he's going to play at Chinnaswamy unless they want the left
so
arm
what
to
is
bowl
with
to Kohli up
Chepauk and
top.
Chinnaswamy? These are not similar tracks, right? These are all in a very Thomas Friedman way. The world is flat. These are all flat tracks devoid of anything. It's not even a track like the Kotla today, where you had a 150 game kind of loading. So these tracks are regular 200 run beds. So to me, Akhil Hossain home or away advantage doesn't make a difference. Akhil is able to get some drift on the ball and offers a very different option for you. And Akhil has also been finishing games for the West Indies, that recent series versus Australia. So I think to me, the current bowling attack, they've leaked 340 runs in the 30 overs for some 7 wickets. So I think CSK, it's okay. There's one thing is, yes, you've missed a lot of options in the auction, but with the current bowling that you have, I what are the main changes you can make? I think that's the only direction to go for CSK, and I'm just surprised why they're holding back Akhil. And I don't think they played all their foreigners yesterday, right? The way
They played
CSK
two.
just played.
They played two. Overton was fit. Zach Fox was fit. Hossain,
So
yeah.
I'll put my 11, which I'd like to see. For me, it doesn't matter Akhil or Overton and Chinnaswamy. They'll both give you as much control. With Akhil, there's a chance of picking up some early wickets.
Who's don't
and
RCB have two
the
right
thing is-
openers? Who's RCB
Sorry?
second opener? It's Kohli and
Phil Salt and Kohli, right?
yeah. Then Akhil maybe first over. Maybe if you get some luck.
So my take is that RCB will definitely outbowl CSK. Right? CSK's only chance is to bat better than RCB. right? And this is the batting lineup which will give it to you. I don't think Karthik and um, Prashant Veer fit in.
Make it the same side.
Make it to the best six.
Yeah, they
Maybe
very clearly don't.
one squeeze and
Karthik
one.
maybe.
I'm saying drop a bowler here and throw in a thing. I'd still say you're better off. Go with strong batting. Put your best 7 batters.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a
And
traditional
if you,
RCB strategy.
So this is 7
I'll bet
batters.
the opposite.
but we don't have a choice, do we? We don't have a competent bowling attack that can, take early wickets. They can
You
take
know
early
that.
wickets, but
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
like, that's not changing. I'm saying the chances you have to win are going to be slightly higher if you pick 6 top batters and stop worrying about the bowling. The bowling will unfold itself and you will discover new nightmares there. But I'm saying
Yeah.
his whole
So
point was
whichever five bowlers CSK plays, they're all going to go for 40 plus, right? Now, therefore, it doesn't matter if Shivam Dubey is one of them, according to me.
wow. That's
It doesn't.
well,
According
I'm
to me, it
like,
doesn't matter. No, truly, Shivam Dubey is as good or bad or an option at this point than a Anshul Kamath
right.
for me personally. Because if he gets away with one good over and gets you 1 wicket, then he's par, right? Uh, Shivam Dubey bowling 4 overs at 1 for 50 is par because he will give you those runs as well.
yeah. Then
So
drop
wouldn't you?
Kamboj and play an
So
extra batsman. Go all in.
that's what I would say. But in this combination, I'm saying that in 12 you can still have five bowlers with Shivam Dubey as your 6th.
Fuck, man. I remember having the same thought that Ashwin had. What a fucking team CSK was. Where have we come to where we're saying that Dubey is fine, 15 run over, no problem. Everybody is giving 20, Dubey will give 15. I just can't believe how we've regressed as a team.
Steve By says that Brevis is only going to come back on the 11th. Oh crap.
Well, that's next
Okay.
weekend.
Okay.
Well, at least CSK get to show off their 14.5 crore guy then, for whatever
In which
what he
case,
is.
But yeah, I think at this point here we are at 12:30 in the night. It's RCB game day, CSK and RCB. We've debated about 15-20 minutes on that. I think we should probably end this right now with a quick predictions.
What about the other
I'm
game?
guessing we'll do the
It's a double.
predictions for that too.
doesn't matter. Doesn't affect any of our
Exactly.
lives.
2 of the
It's
3 here.
sunrises.
No, I'm saying let's put predictions for both. Like we don't have to review it, we
Okay.
can predict for both.
Okay, the
Okay,
first
I'm going
game
with
is-
again for the first game. I'm going with the team which wins the toss. It's been a safe bet so far, 7 out of 8 games, or 8 out of 9 rather now, because the toss winner today also won the game by the way, in both situations. The other one, I think, if CSK gets to chase, they can win. If they get to bat first, they are not winning.
Neerav,
They
CSK hasn't
cannot
chased a
put up a
score.
score which they can defend.
They haven't chased a score over 180 in the last 5 years, is it? 170, 180.
They
They haven't
have
chased.
got, which is fine, but so Sanju is due, right? And then you've got good batters. Don't discount the batters just because
No,
of that.
he's another one game off. He's another one game off than he's due.
I think CSK's chances minorly increase if they are chasing in due, provided their bowlers have restricted RCB to what is a par total. You can't make them get those extra 20 runs, which is above par. So that is the only case, conditional probability where CSK can slightly march ahead and even have that opportunity. Otherwise, RCB is ahead on all departments, on luck, on batting, and on bowling, and on aura too. That's a new word that I'm now learning, aura farming.
Neerav's teaching you Gen Z language, Jesse. My predictions are. My
If I go to
predictions
prediction,
SRH. Yeah.
RCB wins tomorrow, and SRH wins tomorrow.
Yeah, I have the same opinion. SRH is going to blow LSG out of the water, and RCB is going to win by the
I'm not so
barest
sure.
of margins.
I'm not so sure because I think LSG's got a substantially better bowling than SRH. So it comes down to that. It's the same situation. If SRH's only chance is to outbat LSG, but LSG's bowlers are capable of restricting SRH to a subpar total. So let's say SRH bats first and par is 200. SRH's bowlers are capable, LSG's bowlers are capable of restricting Sunrisers under that 200 mark, which gives them
SRH
so
SRH have
it
the
comes
bigger
down to who wins the toss.
guns. SRH have bigger brains and bigger guns. LSG only have bowlers, and I don't think they know how to use them. Either that, or there's some politics
No,
going
they've
on
got
under the
competent
team.
enough batters, man. Come on, let's not rule out the fact that Marsh, Makram, Puran, Pant are good batters. If they've got 5 very, very good bowlers, despite the fact that last time they kept Avesh Khan and Mayank on the bench, both fit. So
Yeah,
if they get their
exactly.
bowling right, if they do what DC did today, they will restrict Sunrisers to 180 on a 200 wicket.
If
They're
one of
capable.
those SRH, or even two of them get away, and most of them are in form, you're looking at a 220, 235 chase, which I don't think these guys are going to chase. They have no batsmen after 4.
Which Sunrisers cannot defend. Remember that their bowling sucks big time.
If they, but
Big
all they
time.
need is 2 or 3 wickets, and I'm sure
Nitish Reddy is the
Vettori
best
is
bowler.
smart enough to.
So just reminder, they give Nitish Reddy the first over of their season.
And he was the man of the match in the second game.
Oh my god!
So yeah,
When's
so
Cummins
blunders will
coming
happen.
back?
Well, not for another week at least, as far as I know. He's not in
He's
India,
in
is he?
Australia. He's not in India. He's in
Oh.
Australia unless Qantas arranges a special flight to fly in. It takes 12 hours to fly in. It's not going to be easy.
You'll hear about it.
Here we are. I think Neera was thinking. I mean, I think most of us agree that RCB has a better side, and CSK would really need a lot of things to go for them for it to win. But on paper, I go with
On merit.
Sorry.
On merit too. RCB is a better team.
On merit, right.
And brains. Andy Flower, come on.
Well, 20 years back, if you had an Andy Flower versus Stephen Fleming debate on batting, Stephen Fleming would probably win. Oh no, Andy Flower was actually very prolific back in the era, especially that
Especially against
2000,
India.
2001. Yeah, there's 100 at double 100 at Faridabad at Delhi, and I think even on the 93 tour, Andy Flower had probably scored some.
And he was a good wicket keeper.
His England team beat Australia 2 or 3 times in a row in the Ashes. He was a damn good coach even back then.
That was a great England team.
He was a great coach. I mean, it wasn't easy to manage guys like Peterson and co. Was it?
No, I think he has a very
Small,
stellar CV as a coach. And it's interesting how coaches are also part of an era as much as captains are. On that,
he got LSG to qualify twice. That's his claim to fame.
Not winning the Ashes in Australia, not winning a title with RCB, making LSG qualify. That's his claim to fame.
And I'm sure he would have got a good bonus from Sanjeev Goenka. That would have increased Zimbabwe's GDP by a bit. Man, I've been to Zimbabwe and I've got those currency notes from Mugabe's time. $1 trillion, $1 billion notes. So maybe I'll maybe show it tomorrow on the group when we can do the chat on what these look like. But that said, here we are, end of game 9 at the IPL, and
was it 9 and 10 or was it 8 and 9?
Today was 8 and 9. Tomorrow is 10 and 11.
All right.
And thanks to all of the 60 people who stayed online with us, and we're looking forward to come back tomorrow. And let's see. I'm also trying to
join in Let's join in again in the nail-biting moments of the second game at 11 o'clock and go through the 2 games.
I think we're gonna log on at 10:30.
Yeah.
I actually it was pretty fun doing the watch along. Maybe we should try it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, and because things like, for example, why is this power play bowler bowling 4th over? Akshar bowled it here. He has a good matchup. Or why did Santner bowl the 4th over? These things are actually done better. Maybe it's a format we could potentially try out, but for now, I think we should call it a night and then make most of what the Sunday is all about. See you folks. Good night. And thanks for joining us.
CSK.
Please do subscribe.
Divine intervention, please.
Please do subscribe to the Cow Corner Dugout. Till then, good night from the 3 of us.